Time period, 2016 to present day. In this time period, we've seen a shift in political views in both parties. We see many Republicans becoming more conservative and trying to give tax breaks to people of all social classes. In this time period, we have also seen Democrats come out, some leaning to more socialist views, while others try to remain more moderate. Events: September 12, 2001 to the present day, the start of the war on terrorism. President Bush declares a war on terror to track and find those responsible for 9/11. This still affects us today, as many candidates face the question of what they will do with remaining troops overseas, as we see some who want to keep them there because a quick withdrawal can lead to chaos in the region, and others saying due to growing tensions in the region of the Middle East, it is unsafe for our troops to be overseas. Our second event is the 2016 presidential elections. This election is highly controversial due to the fact that many thought that Vladimir Putin and the Russians were involved in influencing our elections. Many people also argued because Trump did not win the popular vote, Hillary Clinton should be the President of the United States. Our third event took place on August 11th and 12th in 2017. At the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, many far-right and fascist white supremacist groups gathered and marched to protest the removal of Confederate statues. After a man drove his car through a crowd of anti-protesters, killing one, Trump was criticized for not condemning the far-right groups and saying, quote, "There were very fine people on both sides." Our fourth event is September 4th, 2018, the Brett Kavanaugh hearing. Brett Kavanaugh hearings brought controversy when he was accused of sexual assault. This caused people to pick sides, some saying that the accusation alone should show he can't be in the Supreme Court, and others saying that Democrats just didn't want a right-leaning Supreme Court justice. This is a big issue as we see abortion rights and gun laws becoming bigger and bigger issues in America. The Supreme Court will have a big influence on these decisions, and politicians want a Supreme Court that leans to their views. Political parties. The Republican Party. Many members are conservative and support the conservative view on issues involving gun laws, abortion, foreign policy, and taxes. The Democratic Party, mainly liberal, has more progressive views, and even a few members leaning more towards socialist policies like Bernie Sanders, who supports universal health care and free college. Libertarian Party. Often wanting a limited government, less if no taxes, and a free market, the Libertarian Party does not get many votes, but has had growing support in the past few years. The Green Party. The Green Party supports progressive and green policies that support LGBTQ rights and also vote for policies that aim to reduce carbon emissions. A few other minor parties consist of the Constitution Party, the Tea Party, American Solidarity Party, and many more.
The platforms of the parties. On one hand, the Democrats hold liberal views and values, pride themselves on economic fairness, believe in the right to universal health care and business regulations, and believe that those with a higher income should get taxed at a higher rate than those who earn less. On the other hand, the Republicans hold conservative views and values, believe in economic independence, wish to have little interference in the free market, otherwise known as laissez-faire economics, and believe in a flat tax regardless of income.
Leading politicians of the time. In the short time of the seventh party system, there have been many leading politicians from different parties and views. Leading politicians for the Republicans are incumbent President of the United States Donald Trump, pictured in the bottom left, incumbent Vice President Mike Pence, and current Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. The Democratic Party has their own leading politicians. Joe Biden, pictured bottom center, was vice president under former President Barack Obama and is also a leading presidential candidate in the 2020 presidential election. Bernie Sanders is another Democratic candidate for the 2020 presidential election who is known for his socialist views. Hillary Clinton was the Democratic candidate for the 2016 election who won the popular vote. Nancy Pelosi is the incumbent Speaker of the House, and Chuck Schumer is the current Senate Majority Leader. Independents who have made their own mark are Gary Johnson, pictured bottom right, who was the Libertarian Party candidate for the 2016 election in which he gained 3.27% of the national vote. Jill Stein also ran in the 2016 election for the Green Party. She gained 1.06% of the national vote. Controversial issues of the time. Of the many controversial issues in the short period of time, we can see the tension between the people of the United States to their elected representatives. The Mueller investigation. The Mueller investigation was an investigation headed by Robert Mueller on the supposed Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. The apparent goal of Russian authorities was to harm Hillary Clinton's campaign and to help that of Donald Trump's. Another apparent goal was to increase political and social tension in the United States. Beginning in May of 2017, Mueller would take over 2 years to finish his investigation, which ended in July of 2019. When finished, Mueller had comprised a 448-page report on the investigation. In the report, 10 occurrences of obstruction by Donald Trump were described, but there was insufficient evidence to incriminate President Trump or any members of his campaign. This event ended shortly after Mueller testified to Congress in July of 2019. Kavanaugh hearings. In July 2018, Brett Kavanaugh was nominated by President Donald Trump to fill a seat in the Supreme Court. While in the process of being confirmed to the position, Kavanaugh was accused of sexually assaulting previous classmate Christine Ford in high school, being made public on September 16, 2018. Within the month, 2 more women had accused Kavanaugh of the same crime. On September 27, 2018, Kavanaugh and Ford were questioned before the Senate Judiciary Committee. The FBI investigated the accusations, but found little. On October 6, 2018, Brett Kavanaugh was confirmed to the Supreme Court as a justice. Impeachment trial. Next is the impeachment trial, which began on September 2019 after allegations from a whistleblower had been released that claimed Donald Trump had unlawfully solicited Ukrainian authorities to investigate Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden. Beginning in September, Donald Trump was not impeached until December 18, 2019, when the House of Representatives approved articles of impeachment on charges of abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. However, impeached by the House, Donald Trump was not removed from office as he was found not guilty on both counts in the U.S. Senate on February 5, 2020. State of the Union. Before the conclusion of the impeachment trials, on February 4, 2020, Donald Trump gave the annual State of the Union address. Beginning with Donald Trump not shaking Speaker Nancy Pelosi's hand, the State of the Union was unordinary. Filled with interruptions, both positive and negative, the address ended with Speaker Nancy Pelosi tearing up Donald Trump's speech, showing the tension between the two controlling parties. Coronavirus. Finally, officially deemed a pandemic by the World Health Organization, coronavirus has made its way to the United States and is spreading very quickly with over 230,000 confirmed cases to date. Citizens of the United States look on to see how their president will guide them during this tough time.
The turning point. The seventh party system is the United States' newest party system, so it is currently being used daily in American politics.